At one point in your life, you find something that changes the way that you reflect on other media. For some people, it's a movie, others a show, a book, hell, a fucking podcast, Joe Rogan Experience, whatever. But nonetheless, it changes the way that you look at other media, either critically or just as a fan of something. I'm no different. I have had this moment before, and I continue to have it whenever I experience new media. It's just something that happens, you know? Boots. In boots. So everyone gather around the campfire, this imaginary campfire, and let me tell you a little story, okay? Get your popcorn, get your big soda pop. It's gonna be a long one. When I was a wee little lad in middle school, I was dumb, right? Everyone's dumb in middle school. If you don't say you're dumb in middle school, you're wrong, okay? You're lying. I know that for a fact. But that's besides the point. So, in elementary school and middle school, I was considered one of the gifted kids, right? These are basically just kids that naturally just scored higher on tests and stuff. It didn't mean you were actually smarter. It just meant you were better at taking tests. And a lot of the kids in this program kind of got like a little ego from it. Now, I was considered technically one of the smart kids, but I didn't pass the test because I'm an idiot. So, everyone had these little egos, and I guess I kind of did too. Because everyone's full of themselves in middle school. I guess I thought of myself as like more mature than my peers. But just reflecting back on it, I wasn't like more mature. I was just a dickhead. I was a middle school dickhead. That's all I was. And one of the things that I did was, okay, so if you got kids in the room with you, cover their ears, put earplugs in, get them out, right? Because this is probably going to be one of the scariest things they've ever heard on the internet. Okay, so when I was in middle school, right, as we've established up to this point, I didn't really listen to music. I mean, I did. I listened to whatever was on the radio when I was in the car, but I didn't really, like, listen to music. I didn't have Spotify, Apple Music, anything like that, or, what was it, iTunes? I don't know, iPod, but I mainly listened to, like, soundtracks. Now, I wasn't sitting here bumping to some anime OST, because if you know me, I only really like Cowboy Bebop. That's the only really anime I like, right? But I wasn't sitting here bumping to anime soundtracks. No. This is marginally better, but I listen to game soundtracks. Right, I know. Jump scare. It was mainly like Halo, Destiny, just really orchestral sounding, I guess. I don't know the word, but I listened to that for some godforsaken reason. Because I don't know why, but in middle school, I just thought like the Halo 2 soundtrack was the shit. I mean, it is. Have you listened to the Mjolnir mix? But the point I'm trying to make is that I didn't really listen to music like that. Because the only music I was really exposed to was game music, like soundtracks, and country music. So you can see why I didn't really listen to music. I didn't really listen to like hip hop, R&B, pop, just stuff like that, because I was only really exposed to country music. And I don't like country music. So, you know. But one summer in 7th grade, I just decided to branch out my music taste, because I guess whatever Marty O'Donnell produced wasn't my cup of tea anymore. I don't know. I just decided to branch out. And in my attempt to listen to new types of music, one of the things that I listened to was Graduation by Kanye West. Now, I don't Kanye, he's doing him. Yeah, he's doing him right now. But at the time when I listened to it, it was so different from what else I'd normally listen to. Because when I was in middle school, it was like the prime SoundCloud rapper era. It sounds like a slur when I say that. But it was mainly just like music like X, Juice WRLD, just stuff from SoundCloud, early Uzi, just stuff I wasn't a fan of. But when I listened to Graduation, I like instantly just loved it. Just the upbeat nature of the album mixed with the positive message. I just really, I fucked with it, you know what I'm saying? But that really gravitated my taste in music. I went from just listening to game soundtracks to trying to find albums that told a story or told a message that anyone can relate to, no matter what. That changed my perception of music, and eventually it led to me changing my taste in games and movies as well. After I branched out and listened to Graduation, it then led me down a path, an evil, dark path of listening to new types of music, especially ones outside of the rap scene. If we're going to talk about my expansion of rap, that's an evil, dark path. Dude, I listen to Blady, JPEG Mafia, evil. But it did lead me to one of the most underground artists of all time. You may not have heard of him. You might think it's a band, actually. His name's Tame Impala. It's actually a guy named Kevin. But the whole point of that little tangent is that because I branched out and stopped listening to just whatever Marty O'Donnell and Michael Salvatore did exclusively, I mean, I still listen to it a tad bit, but I was able to find something that now that I can't even live without it, man. I mean, if I didn't have Spotify Premium, I'd probably kill myself. Thank God for that $5.99 student plan. So like I said, that affected my entire taste in games, movies, podcasts. No longer Joe Rogan listener, now I listen to H3H3. Monster Hunter World is that feeling, that new feeling of finding something that you love in the form of a game. It's the same way I felt when listening to Graduation, just as a game. Let me preface this by saying I've been playing games my whole life, right? Video games are something that I'll be playing until the CIA eventually get me, which they won't, because I'm a gamer. And I browse r/gaming, where we copy paste the stupid shit post. Or I'm not a gamer because I have no life. Gamer because I choose to have many. Except I don't think it's ironic on there. If Graduation had the feeling of me branching out and listening to new music, video games, to the moon and back. Like, I experienced something new and I'm just in love with it forever and ever and ever. You know what I'm saying? Now, I may be a little bit of a negative Nancy, right? But you'll notice one thing about my Hall of Fame of games. It's actually video games in there. Because I like games that actually have, game to it. Not just like these cinematic movies, which I could appreciate them. I think they're alright. But they're not like the greatest games of all time, you know what I'm saying? Like my new taste in music, my taste in games changes pretty often. I mean, all throughout middle school, I exclusively played Call of Duty and Halo and Destiny. But out of all the garbage games that I've played, all the good games I've played, nothing has quite stayed with me like Monster Hunter World. So instead of continuing to talk about how I just like games and how I like music and all the ooey gooey artsy fartsy shit I've been talking about, let's get on to the actual video. You know what I'm saying? It's been long enough. Now, I don't know if this is like a hot take or something, but in my opinion, in my humble YouTuber opinion, Monster Hunter World is one of the greatest games of all time, and that's not even up for debate. So, a little bit of a backstory, okay? Monster Hunter was it was a PS2 game developed by Capcom, and it quickly became like the biggest thing in Japan. Like Call of Duty here, that's Monster Hunter over there. So the absolute chokehold that this series has on Japan is similar to the grip that a Yakuza member has on the knife that he used to skin your dog because you owed him 13,000 yen. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's tight. But in the West, the series hasn't had quite the reputation that it's had over in Japan, only because they've mainly been stranded on, like, Nintendo systems, and people just weren't interested in the kind of complex nature of the Monster Hunter series. But Monster Hunter World, when it was revealed, it was something different, because it was actually coming out for, at the time, current-gen systems, the Xbox One and the PS4, so it wasn't going to be held back by the Nintendo Switch. It looked fantastic, and just the overall just newness of the game had a greater appeal to many people, myself included, compared to something like one of the 3DS games. But you gotta remember, it's 2018, so I was, 13? This is middle school me. I had a passing interest, I guess. I was like, oh, it looks cool. But then I just went back to playing Black Ops 3. But we don't trust 13-year-old me. Fast forward, January, the game comes out, right? Critics love it, players love it, everyone loves it. I didn't play the game. I skipped out on the launch. Because being completely honest, I didn't even realize that the game came out. I was too busy playing Black Ops, I don't know. So I didn't play the game for a good 4 or 5 months after the fact that it came out. And being a little honest with you, I didn't like it all too much. I know, officer, I'm right here. Take me down. But I played an hour and a half of the game, and it just wasn't sitting right with me. I wasn't feeling it. You know what I mean? Gamer munch. Because one of the biggest problems with the game, in my opinion, is the fact that the first hour or so is just so draining. It just doesn't feel fun to play. I don't know how to put it, but just the way that the game has all these unskippable cutscenes, all these pop-up tutorials, all this shit that you're just expected to memorize for the rest of the game. For some people, 13-year-old goopy goblin gamer brain, me included, it wasn't something that I was interested in. Secondly, I played the game in English the first time around. Biggest mistake of my life. Never, no, repeat this after me. Never, ever play Monster Hunter in English. Your ears will thank you.
Very well. Then sail safe and strong.
Yo, did you hear? We're almost there.
Hey, aren't you one of the A-list hunters?
What? No way. So are we. Hey, tell us your name.
Listen to that. Getting rough out there. The waves are picking up. I'm not psychic, but I do have pretty good ears. Ah, put her there. I happen to be an A-lister myself. Oh, whoa!
The English dub for that game is awful. Like I don't like it whatsoever. But anyways, a year goes by. I decide to pick up the game again, give it a second try because I owned it. Might as well play it, right? And I loved it. I don't know what clicked for me this time, but I just absolutely loved it. Like if we went back in time to like 14-year-old me, however old I am, I don't even know how old I am. If we fast forward from the time that I didn't like the game to the time that I played it again and loved it, dude, the Japanese had put some sort of fancy Yakuza crack in there. Because I don't know what, but I was just addicted, man. Like, when I played the game, I didn't put it down until I beat the game. It was that good. I think what really made the game click for me was the fact that once you get past all the tutorials and pop-ups, the game's pretty simple. Let me break it down. Let me break it down, okay? Let's break it down. So you're tasked with either capturing or killing a monster. If you kill the monster, you've got to go in, find its weak spots, do some research, just kill it, right? Do as much damage in your allotted time, or you fail the quest. If you're tasked with capturing the monster, what you do is you have to elaborately like get him low enough to where he starts like gimping around. He's a little hurry. He's like, "Ow, my leg!" And then you trap him. Take him hostage. And all the different monsters in the game, they have like different weak spots, different crit points. Dude, it's like they're all different in every single way. So every time you fight a monster, you never feel like you're doing the exact same thing that you did before for another monster. And this is one of those games that if you do your homework and prep a little bit, you will be greatly benefit. Whether that be a trap that you placed earlier in the level, that when the monster runs to it, he gets affected, you can do buku damage, or you just study the monster, find its weak spots in general, what its weak to, weaknesses. You will greatly be benefited. The game is just a simple loop, really. You prepare, loot, kill or capture the monsters, and repeat. The strong gameplay loop of just killing monsters is overall just enhanced by the fact that the game is just beautiful to look at. Like, ditching the cartoonish or pixelated art style that the 3DS and Wii games went to because they were roughly the power of, like, I don't know, my fist. The game went for a more realized and realistic art style while still keeping what the Monster Hunter charm. And this look that they went for allowed the game to remain beautiful. Like, it's no longer the most recent entry in the series. That's Monster Hunter Rise. But this one, it still looks beautiful. Even on medium settings on PC, game looks amazing. The vistas and views that the game throws at you allows you to really just get lost within this world, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not a big immersion guy either, but still, you just get lost in these beautiful worlds. And there's like 7 of them in one game. That's why it's called Monster Hunter World. It wouldn't be called Monster Hunter Land. The various boss arenas and just the cohesive level design in general allows for multiple monsters to fit on one zone, and it just doesn't feel congested or just full of bloat. I mean, every unique area in a certain level is iconic. Like, you could probably point them out, and you'd know what boss is there or what type of plant is there if you've played the game, you know what I'm saying? But wait, there's more. Just like John McAfee's mysterious suicide, there's more to this story. The soundtrack for this game? Oh my god, the soundtrack. theme that plays during combat, exploration, at your home base aren't those themes that are intrusive and just get stuck in your head in a really annoying way, but they don't just feel like ambient tracks, you know what I'm saying? The mixture just allows for these looping tracks that constantly play to not just get annoying while you still remember them. The soundtrack, it's amazing. And one of the last things I want to talk about is just the story. Nobody plays Monster Hunter for the story. I've played the game 3 times through already, and I'm gonna be honest with you, until this most recent playthrough, I really didn't. I skipped the story. Let me give you a rundown on this story that I kept skipping, right? So, you're part of, like, the 5th Fleet. You're on a boat, right? Boat gets attacked by a monster and crashes, right? Okay, so we're off to a strong start, right? The boat crashes. You and a bunch of other survivors escape the boat, and you set up camp with some other survivors from a different fleet, right? You're now tasked with hunting and researching all the different monsters in the surrounding area. And after checking the wiki, it's pretty much right. I mean, like, there's not like any major plot developments that'll have you like jumping, doing backflips out of your chair. But the simple story doesn't make the game any worse. If anything, I'd say it makes the game better, because you're not bogged down by having to pay attention to story. You can just log on, do a quest, hunt a monster or something, get off. That's what I did for a while. You just do like a quest or 2 a day. You don't have to worry about story, but the game's still fun to play. Like I said, the story services the game well enough. I do wish the game had a better story, don't get me wrong, but I'm perfectly fine with just this mediocre story that just has nothing of value. I don't care. The gameplay is so fun. If I wanted a strong narrative game, I'd go play God of War, the original, where you see boobies. Because, like, not every game needs to have a narrative about a father figure who lost somebody, learning to accept who they are now, or learning to love the little runt of a kid that they're stuck with. I'm looking at you, Sony. But wait, there's even more, right? So what if I told you that alongside the base game, there's an expansion? If Monster Hunter World is already one of the greatest games ever, the expansion is one of the greatest expansions ever. This expansion just elevates the game and adds to it. Like, it adds an entire other location, new monsters, new quests, basically everything that an expansion should do, right? All it really does is just expand the endgame. And with Monster Hunter World, that's what you want. You want more endgame, because that's the fun part of the game. The game also just added stuff that was missing from the base game that was in Monster Hunter games before, like the master ranks that basically just expanded the amount of time that you had with the game. It also just added some new gadgets, like, you know, a grappling hook, you know, one of the greatest things ever made, right? And you think, oh, it's only usable in the new area because the original game wasn't designed for it. Nope, you can hook onto monsters in the base game. And as everybody knows, a game with a grappling hook ups the score of the game at least by 1 number point, maybe even 2. This video may not do this game justice whatsoever, but the effect that this game had on me as a person and my tastes in video games and other media in general is something that I don't think will ever be replicated. Going from a little snot-nosed kid who just played first-person shooters almost exclusively and fucking Batman, this game changed my perspective of how games can actually be fun and not just be shoot the bad guy. This game, just like Graduation, changed what I look for in games today. This game kind of like revitalized my love for gaming. Because like I said, I only played little first-person shooters, little snot-nosed baby. I thought gaming was kind of like boring, you know what I'm saying? But if you're also in that boat, find a different game to play. Like, find Monster Hunter like I did. Like, just find something that looks interesting and play it. I promise you, you will love gaming again. And if you're looking for a new game to play, in my oh-so-humble YouTuber opinion, play this game. You don't even need the expansion. The expansion's optional. The base game alone is amazing. The expansion just makes it even more amazing. Just overall, the game's a wonderful gameplay loop and killer expansion just really defines this as one of probably the best games of all time. Like, it's not even up for debate. Hey everyone, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I just wanted to say thank you, because I haven't really gotten, I don't know, personal like this in a video before. I've never done one of these like review type videos, but I just wanted to talk about Monster Hunter. Because like I love this game, dude. It's amazing. yeah, like, that's why this video took like 2 weeks to make. Because, like, I just really wanted to nail the script. And I don't know how, I couldn't express. Because I wasn't trying to, like, just go through the game quest by quest, do one of those things. I was trying to just talk about why I think the game is a masterpiece. So this is like the first one of these videos that I've ever tried doing. So if it's awful and you want me to kill myself, let me know. Greatly appreciated. Enough of that boo-boo crying shit. If you guys like the video, like, subscribe, comment if you want. Comment if you want me to do more of these. I probably will continue to do like playing with my friends and then like a review type video. Like I'll flip-flop between those. I don't know. I like making these. I like doing the other videos. I'll do both. But yeah, later.